In case you think the COVID-19 situation is starting to wind down, the Federal Trade Commission reports that in the first 6 months of the year, over $97 million has been scammed out of individuals, just like you and me. Welcome to 10-Minute Tech Tips, an HCTC podcast of some information that you just might find helpful. I'm your host, Kerry Sutton, and while I don't always claim to be an expert, my goal is to bring you recommendations from the real experts that may save you time, money, and maybe some real frustration. Back in March, as the COVID pandemic hit the Texas Hill Country, we had to shut down our Lunch and Learn program. We started podcasting as a way to still connect with as many people as possible. At the end of the podcast, I'll give you an email address where you can ask questions or send ideas for future shows. I encourage you to reach out to us if you'd like. As we always talked about in the Lunch and Learn program, there's a ton of great information online. And today I want to point you to the Federal Trade Commission website, specifically the site consumer.ftc.gov. Now, today we're talking about COVID-19 scams. And as if the virus, the pandemic, whatever you want to call it, is not bad enough. The site I'm looking at has 11 different scams to watch out for. It's hard to imagine that people will take advantage of something as terrible as the virus is, and maybe some of you have even lost loved ones. And to that, we certainly extend our sympathies to that. But for those of us that deal with this on a day-to-day basis, there are people out there that want to do harm, that want to capitalize on the pain that's already out there. So I just want to make you aware of some things to watch out for and some things to share with others. Number one, contact tracing scam, text scams. Now, if you don't get 10 different scam messages on your cell phone, just stand by. It will be coming. I get scams from, you name it, from some look legit, but some are definitely scams. It may be from banks or political candidates, or I get messages saying I have these mystery packages are going to be shipped to my house and they need my okay to do it. All of those are scams. Well, apparently the COVID people have come up with contact tracing scams, and they're all just trying to get information from you. They're trying to get your social security number. They're trying to get maybe a driver's license, something to identify you, that then they can take that information and use it for nefarious purposes. So don't give anybody information unless you've already confirmed who they are. How about a test kit scam? Now, this is probably somebody calling you saying, "Hey, for only $99.95, we have the most advanced kit that you can have, that you can test it. Maybe your family can test with it," and they're going to play on your fears that the testing is either inconvenient to drive somewhere. Maybe if you're especially in a rural area, you have to drive to a larger city, or maybe they're going to play on the fear that the test just is not accurate. So they have a better test. And so all that is to get, $50 or $100, out of you, at least. Okay. Fake federal phishing scams. These may be phone calls, emails, or other text messages where somebody asks you to give a donation to help with a federal program, or maybe it's a state program. I can almost assure you, there are legitimate people out there, but almost always, if somebody is asking you for money or a credit card or any kind of really personal information, walk away from it. Just do it. If it's real, they will contact you again or some other way, or they'll give you a number and you can contact them. But if someone's pretending to be somebody else, in this case, a federal agency asking for money for donations, don't do it. Here you go. Medical scams is another one. It says, be wary of calls or emails from doctors or hospitals claiming to have treated a friend or relative and demanding payment. Once again, somebody's looking for money. How about stimulus scams? Have you got your stimulus check? I know some people who haven't, and while I don't know the reason why they have not received it, if if a bad guy happened to find out about that, they certainly could um, be an opportunist and call this person and say, "Hey, let me help you get your money," and they may help you get it for a fee, finder's fee, or who knows what the reason is. But don't go to a legit site like the IRS to try to find out where your stimulus money is. Don't just answer some random phone call and give them information. Charity scams, we talked a little bit about that already. There's a site called Charity Navigator, and in this site you can look up an agency and they'll give you a scorecard about how legit these people are, and they will tell you where their money goes to, so you can make an intelligent decision that, hey, I want to give my money to these people but not to these people. So anytime somebody calls you on the phone asking you to give money, it's okay to take their information. I wouldn't give them money unless you happen to know who they are, but take their information, look them up, do some research, and then if you want to, contact them back, and by all means, support your favorite charity. How about miracle cure scams? We've heard a lot about the um, vaccines. We've heard a lot about vaccines, or maybe even some people say, "Hey, I take these supplements, or I have something that may be just as good as what they're talking about on the news." And so, for $19.95, buy this special miracle cure. Once again, if they're looking for money, I would walk away from it. Shopping scams, non-existent stores may claim to sell products in high demand. Okay, maybe we're past this one, but one of the scams that's going out there still is people saying, "Hey, we have special things you can't find in a store." Maybe in your location, especially once again, if you're in a rural spot, you may not be able to find all the PPE, or the personal protective equipment that you'll hear on the news a lot. Maybe all you have is a small general store, and you can't get masks, or you can't get face shields, or whatever it is you think you need. Well, these people say, "Hey, I've got the best face shield, I've got the best mask, and for only $49.95, I'll send this to you." Once again, if someone's asking you to buy something that you didn't choose to buy, or that you weren't planning on buying, I would walk away. How about scams on your smartphone? Many times we don't really know what the app on our smartphone, how it captures that information and how it's used. So in the COVID world, there are people that will prey on your fear of, kind of back to the contact tracing. They will say, "Hey, you never know who you're coming into contact with, so load our app on your phone so we can give you good information about who's around you, or would do something trying to keep you safe." And there are legit apps out there that probably in the future, probably we may be encouraged to download that, just so we can know if we go to a group, or maybe we go to a mall, and then later on they find out there was a problem there. They can let us know, "Hey, you were in the mall this weekend, so these are things you need to watch out for." But right now, this is really still in its infancy. And so some people may say, "Hey, this is a great app. You need to download this and find out who you've been around, in case what your risk is." Well, did you ever think that somebody could simply have you download an app so they can know when you're not home? So if you're not home, and hopefully no one else would be at home at the same time, but if you're not home, then now they want to rob your house, or steal a car, or who knows what they want to do. But don't ever tell somebody, "Hey, I'm not home," for any reason, unless you trust them, or unless that person is not going to steal something, or rob you, or do something. But keep in mind, bad guys do bad things. And if you're a good person, you don't always think about ways that somebody can harm you. But so the whole idea of this podcast is just to put some thoughts in your mind about, okay, this is something I need to watch out for. How about a get rich quick scheme? Now, we would all love a real legit get rich quick scheme, especially as we're talking about taxes, and with the presidential vote coming down here shortly. We're all talking about, we're not sure what all the future is going to look like. So If there's any kind of related COVID-19 get rich quick scams, hard to say. Now is the time for someone to play that, and probably we're all more sensitive to this than we realize. So just keep your head on a swivel, meaning always be looking around and know what's around you and think things through before you agree to giving somebody money for for anything. And then this one's a new one for me here. It says college student phishing scams. So, okay, be aware of any email claiming to be from the financial department. Anytime I see the words financial department on an email, the hair on the back of my neck stands up. As a student that had student loans, and actually, I guess I still have student loans that I'm paying off for an advanced degree. When I see those words, financial department, it certainly makes me take notice. Well, that being the case, if someone knows that about me, they would know that maybe I'm more susceptible to some kind of a fraud or a scam dealing with student loans or dealing with anything that has to do with college and higher degree learning and all that kind of college stuff. Plus, I've got two kids that are college age kids, in school, and so that's one of those things that's a really sensitive area for me. Well, that's 11 things, the different scams that we've talked about here, and next week there may be 11 different ones. Yeah, it's hard to say. Just keep in mind the bad guys want your money, and they will tell you anything they can to get that money away from you and into their pockets. So go to the Federal Trade Commission websites, look up fraud, look up scams. Phishing is a big topic that we'll talk about in another podcast, but it's spelled phishing. It's like fishing, but with a ph instead of an f. That's what bad guys use a lot to dig into emails or text messages and things like that. The whole cybersecurity crime realm is where that is. So I encourage you to be smart about this, to learn all you can, and just be careful. Be careful, wherever you go. This podcast should not be copied, distributed, published, or reproduced, either in whole or in part, without the express written consent of HCTC. Any inquiries relating to the podcast should be directed to the Manager of Community Relations at podcast@hctc.net. Thank you so much for listening.